YouTube, vinyl community, Phoebe Bridgers fans, random people on the internet. My name is Giggens, and we're here today to talk about Phoebe Bridgers' second album, Punisher, released through Dead Ocean Records in the summer of 2020. This is one of my favorite albums I've heard in a very long time. It's heartbreaking, it's longing, it's melodic, it's painful, and it's brutally honest, but because of that, you get such a refreshing account of modern life, I guess life in general, but it's such a fascinating document of someone's psyche, whether these are true, honest journals from, Phoebe's life experience, or things she's writing about, or bits and pieces throughout her day she kind of puts together as a song. Either way, it's so well written, so well produced. The playing on it is so heartfelt. Every time I listen to this record, I come away finding something new on it, and I've just enjoyed every second of it. At first, I was kind of like wondering if I could find something negative to say about it just to have some sort of balance with the review, and I really couldn't. I tried, but everything on this record is something I really enjoy, particularly because I like the honesty on it. The honesty is what gravitates me to it so hard. It's such a pure, vulnerable record that I can instantly imagine possibly like myself in some situations or things I've gone through. So it's a very relatable album. And I think that's what makes good art, is that when you can find a bit of yourself in something that someone wrote about themselves that was so personal to them, and then the viewer, the listener hears it and finds something totally different from it. That's what makes music fun, is you can kind of find your own story in the songs. But regardless, I love the packaging on this thing. I mean, the cover art is fantastic. I mean, look at this picture. It's just so cool. It's Phoebe in her skeleton costume. Shaq's in the back. And a gorgeous shot of a starry night with the rocks there. Yeah. So it opens up with an instrumental track called DVD Menu, which I think is great. It's kind of like clicking play to get to the first song. Very somber strings in this one, an overall kind of weary feeling, lots of tension, lots of anxiety and uncertainty throughout this thing. But I'm also getting feelings of like memories, of like longing and looking back. There's a certain tension that sort of feels like nostalgia, and I kind of get that impression from this track, which leads into Garden Song. And Phoebe's gentle articulation with her delivery is just infectious and so catchy and so awesome to listen to, because you just get this different world. It's not this big flashy voice. It's this really, I don't want to use the word timid because that's not true, because she screams on this album a few times. And I don't want to use the word cautious because there's times where she's very confident, but I just get this super honest vocal from her, and I'm probably going to use that word several times in this review, but the emotion in her voice is tangible. You can feel the emotion in her voice. And the music for me on this one kind of sounds like a scattered memory, like bits and pieces kind of strewn together. But that bass underneath it all keeps it moving forward. So it's almost like there's a longing, but there's also a moving forward and the confliction between both of those worlds on this one. Kyoto is the next song on here, and I love the fuzzy instruments on this thing. The really heavy, steady drums, the big, booming, triumphant chorus on this thing with the soaring horns. Just a beautiful melody, and it reminds me of something that Beulah would have done. It sounds like a Beulah song to me, and I'm not sure if she's a fan or not. I know she's a fan of like Conor Oberst and Bright Eyes and Elliott Smith, so I'm not sure if she's a Beulah fan, but I'm getting that feel here. The storytelling, and I'll mention this a lot throughout this album, the storytelling is so visceral that she can take an image or a moment and simplify it into one or two sentences, and the imagery and the colorful detail she projects is just so, I'm like a magnet for it. As a writer myself, I see a lot of this album being like, wow, how does she do that? How does she do that? Oh, that's a good line. Oh, that's a good bit. How do you do that? So fascinating, but yeah, love this track. Track 4, Punisher. I love the effects on her voice on this one. Almost like an underwater feeling, which is pretty cool. Really delicate melody on this one. This one does have a sort of a cautious feel. For me, on this song, I'm getting a story of heartbreak or longing. Could be both. Just a beautiful song to listen to, and that sad chorus is just unbelievable. The heartbreak that permeates through this album, I think is fantastic. I mean, it sucks that heartbreak has to happen, but you get good art. As Ben Folds once famously sang a few years ago, seems what's been good for the music hasn't always been so good for the life. So make of that what you will. Track 5, Halloween. This song is almost sung in a whisper, and I like that because I kind of get this atmosphere of like a foggy street at night with some lights kind of being muffled in between the clouds. But I'm also seeing images of happiness in slow motion looking backwards, and not so much of a longing maybe, but just a memory of happier times. That repetition of be whatever you want really hits. Looking for yourself, looking for acceptance, trying to be true to who you are and who you feel like you could be. That repeating mantra is fascinating. And then Chinese Satellites ends off side 1 here, and this song is just crazy sad. It's so lonely and longing, but it's gorgeous because of that. It sounds like an experienced trauma, because it's got such a longing for a grounding on this song. It's an extremely powerful track, and the wanting of a tractor beam to suck you up and take you somewhere else, that's a very relatable feeling, but it also is a very heavy emotion to just want to be transported somewhere completely different from the situation you're currently in, or maybe trying to escape from or trying to change, and maybe you can't. So this song just builds and builds and builds, and it puts you into a whole different world of deep emotions. Track 1 on side 2, Moon Song. The lyrics are absolutely incredible on this track. This whole song, for me, is super vulnerable, and it's just like crushed in heartbreak throughout. Waiting and hoping for the other person to acknowledge them or be with them. Like I said before, she knows how to take an emotion and break it down into super succinct verses that just hit so hard because each word feels so carefully chosen. There's nothing extraneous about her detail, and I love that. It's so musically blunt. It's amazing. But this song just hits you so hard. It's a pretty sad song, but I love it. Savior Complex. As we're diving deeper into this LP, I just continue to get wrecked by her lyrics because, again, there's something so pure and vulnerable about her delivery with such an emotional storytelling bend to it that just makes you want to listen for more, to hear what's going to happen next. Those chord changes on this one are so warm and nostalgic. It feels like the music needs a hug, if that makes any sense. Really digging that one. I See You is the next song on here, and really heavy echo at times, but then there's also a dry vocal at times, and I kind of like that juxtaposition there. But I love the lyrics. They're so powerful and optimistic. It's a really rocking, heavy track. And her vocal delivery is so confident, so it's nice to have that balance on here. But the passion here is just wonderful. Then you get Graceland 2. A bit of a country feel with this one, so more fiddle, violin, if you will. More acoustic guitars, and a story about looking for truth and honesty and wondering if songs are real, the messages behind them, and just general life experiences. And then the closer track here, I Know the End. This is an amazing song. I mean, it's all about projections and looking at life through rose-tinted glasses, even looking forward in rose-tinted glasses, not so much backwards. But the perfect imagery of railing against an unstoppable reality and what you think it might be. The huge build-up in the latter part of the song with its triumphant horns, she's screaming like crazy, the noise, it's all so beautiful. For a song that builds from such a little whisper to this giant cacophony, what an amazing work of art. I mean, it's just a fantastic song. And I read a little bit into this one because I was really curious about the story behind this one. And I realized she had dated her drummer, and so they talk about that in the song a little bit. Some of the lines about Texas and Germany were kind of handed down from people she knew. And it's a song about the end of the world and accepting the end of the world and being like okay with that. Just a really dense, heavy track. I mean, it's something to really sit with and listen to a handful of times, because you're not gonna get it on the first. I mean, you're gonna love it on the first try, but delving deeper and deeper into it, you're gonna take more from it and feel more from it because of that. So, whew. But dig this. It comes with an entire booklet of these beautiful drawings with all the lyrics on them. But it's fantastic songs. Let me show you the one for Halloween. I love that drawing. If I can move the pages here. I don't want to ruin this thing. But I love that drawing. We got the end is here. So that fits in the first pocket of the gatefold sleeve here. And the record itself, simple black insert. My copy isn't anything special, it's just the standard black vinyl. So that's side B, and side B mentions the tracks. But yeah, like I said, this is an album for me that continues to grow, and I feel like, 20 years from now, it's going to be considered a modern masterpiece. Just as much as I feel like it should be considered that right now. It's rare that I hear a new album and I'm instantly blown away by the lyrics, the music, the presentation, and the uniqueness of her. Her sound is very much her sound, which I'm sure will grow and develop and change as she does the same, because we're humans and that's what we do. It won't be like this forever, but there's always going to be bits and pieces of this sound in her work, for years to come. She's extremely talented, and I wish her all the best, because we need more people like this in the music world. She is a songwriter, and a guitarist, and all the accolades you can hand out. I'm a humongous fan, if you can't get the gist of what I'm trying to say, but Punisher for me is a 10 out of 10 album. Hands down, no doubt there. One of the best things I've heard in a long time. Absolutely adore this record. There's really not a bad second on it. I tried looking for anything negative to say, just to have a balance of up and down, some feedback, some criticism. I got nothing, man. It's just a great album. I adore this thing. So let me know if you've heard it. Phoebe Bridgers, Punisher, 10 out of 10. I cannot recommend this album enough. Absolutely love this thing. So thank you so much for watching. My name is Giggens. This has been Punisher by Phoebe Bridgers. And let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.